stop that. Hey, everyone. We are live on the Overland podcast. It is a beautiful Tuesday, getting ready for the deluge coming to Arkansas. We've got somewhere between, I think Tony just said, I don't think he's, I think he, I think he's
You think
bluffing.
I embellished a little
I think
bit?
you're bluffing me.
Yeah, I
He
had to
said
pull
somewhere
up the graphic.
3 to 12 inches
Yeah,
of
it's
rain that we got coming this week.
I pulled up the graphic, and I think it's like 5 to 11 inches of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Well,
embellished a little bit.
tomorrow and Thursday are supposed to be like rough, like bad. But then again, it was supposed to get rough here on Sunday, and everything missed us and just exploded once it got to the east of us. So we'll see how it goes. You never know. This is Arkansas. If you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change. But glad to be here. Missed last week. I was out in the middle of the Gulf of whatever you want to call it now. I don't really know who has the authority to name things like that, but on all the maps, even on the boat, it said Gulf of America on it. So, whatever you want to call it, that's what they called it. It was fun. I still got a little bit of sea legs in me every now and then. The world shakes a little bit, and I have to get my eyes from being crossed. But it was fun.
You probably have to sit down when you come off when you go roller skating with Gia. You probably have to sit down for a little bit and take your skates off and
I don't put any
reacclimate.
wheels on my feet. I learned that back when I was 15. I don't put wheels on my feet. I don't attach anything that can move on my feet. No skateboards or ice skates or anything like that. That just means certain death.
Yeah.
And I just will not do it. But anyway, we have a good show. It's good to be back. Good to be back here. Spring is in the air. If you're a waterfall chaser, it is a great time to be out in Arkansas, especially after this weekend. I would not recommend going this weekend, but the weekend after this weekend, Benji, stay home, dude. Stay home. Don't take people out. The weekend after this weekend, it's going to be really nice. But anyway, we're excited to bring you one of our favorite faces that floods our Instagram each and every day. And want to get to talk to him and dig into the build and get to talk to Jonny a little bit. Jonny, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
Hey, appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, my wife's on here. Perfect camping weather. No, it's not. So Jonny, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, what you do.
Yeah, so I'm from Deep East Texas area, which isn't indicative to the overlanding lifestyle because there's not a lot of public land around here. So we are able to get out in some of our national forests, but we have to do traveling to get single dad and do a oil field automation for a day job so I can get out and enjoy this lifestyle and keep gas in the tundra. So which is a big deal for that thing.
I imagine.
Right.
I imagine. Well, hey, at least it's a couple dollars and some change instead of $5 and some change like it was several years ago. So I know that helps you out. How did overlanding become part of your life? Vehicle-based camping. How'd that become part of who you are?
Yeah. So I grew up in an outdoorsy family, always hunting and camping at a young age. I was in scouts growing up, so I've always had that outdoorsy camping lifestyle. And as I got older and started turning wrenches and working on vehicles, I moved into off-roading vehicles. And then I want to say it was back in 2015 when I saw my first rooftop tent on the forums. I'm like, oh, that's cool, and the bug kind of got set in. And then, come to 2020 when I got the time, I was like, I'm going to go all in on this one. So that's slowly modified into what it is now. So,
that's cool. What vehicle did you start out with getting off-road? What was your first one?
Oh man, my first one was an 02 Toyota Tacoma. That actually I started out as kind of a import guy, and it was a 2-wheel drive lowered truck. And I decided one day I wanted to lift it. I lifted it, and 2 weeks later I rolled it and drove it for the next 2 years with the driver's side smushed on it. So that's what started it all.
That's cool. How did you get into the Tundra, the full size?
Well, I'd actually I had a 2013 Tacoma I bought brand new, and at the time my daughter was a lot younger, and the Tacoma was just hard to have a car seat in. So I traded it in. I had it 5 years, it all built out, but no rooftop tent or anything like that. But I decided I wanted a full size, and I made a bad mistake and got a GMC half ton. Owned it for a year, and it was an absolute turd. So
Yeah.
I decided to go back to Toyota, and I liked the full size vehicle. So I started looking at the Tundra, and I found one at 17. It was 3 years old with 14,000 miles on it, and I jumped on it. And
Man, that's a
Heck yeah.
diamond in the rough right there. Finding one a couple 2-3 years old with low miles on it. You found a gem
yeah,
right there.
yeah,
Well, so
for sure. And I knew I wanted nothing. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I just want to know what you've done to it up to this point. We can see from the pictures what's evident on it, but what have you done to make it overland worthy up to this point?
Right. Well, I mean, I started out with a basic build, and it's evolved since then, and I've changed things up multiple times. Which I started out and thought I knew what I wanted, and then as I got to doing this a little more and having a little extra money to spend, I kind of upgraded some things. But currently, I'm on about a 2.5-inch lift by Fox coilovers, cab mount relocate, cam tab gussets, spindle gussets. With the weight of the Tundra in my build, I had to have a custom set of leaves built by Alcan Spring, full RCI skids underneath the truck, Cali raised sliders, SOB fabrication, high clearance front and bumpers. And then I have, just the general Molly panel stuff throughout the inside of the truck, and the obvious ones, the T Overland Atlas on the back, and it's built out within the bed. So
yeah, that's one of the things that I love looking at when you post stuff. I'm an organizational freak, and Tony is too. Actually, probably
right,
to
I am too.
the nth degree a lot more than I am. But I love looking at people have their
Right.
stuff organized. And so, would you say that you are somebody that likes all the conveniences of home, or are you kind of a minimalist kind of guy?
I would say I like all the conveniences of home. I can make do with less, but in a big old truck, why not pack it up and take it with me, So,
Yeah.
I love it. Now, does your daughter get to go with you sometimes as well?
She does. We do a lot of shorter weekend trips around here, and last year we went to Colorado in the fall, and that was actually her first week-long trip out with me. I mean, she did on that, so she'll for sure be coming on some of my bigger trips from here on out.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I love it. I love it when people take their kids out and show them what life outside of the screen is, and get them outside. That's so
Right.
cool. What's
I'm
your?
just-
Go ahead, Tony.
I was just gonna say I'm listening, but you guys are watching me with my head turned. I'm just obsessed over here watching some of your reels on Instagram with your big rig in the Ozarks, flexing on some of these trails, man. It's just really cool.
Yeah, speaking of that, you said that you went to the Ozarks last fall. What's your normal area that you like to go out into? What's your favorite spot?
Man, I will jump all over. This last time we went out and camped up at Devil's Knob Lookout, and then with the daughter, I kind of wanted to show her the sights. Yep. So yeah, we went to some of the like fallen waterfalls and what is it, Six Finger Falls, I think, kind of showing my daughter some of that stuff. So kind of in that general area, but I've bounced all over up there before as well. So
how do you plan your routes when you want to go somewhere? Do you plan it out ahead of time, or or how do you figure out where do you want to go?
Man, so honestly, I'm like the world's worst procrastinator when it comes to my routes. I have some stuff mapped on like Onyx and Gaia, and I'll kind of have a general area, and I'll pick more of spots I want to go see, and then get up there and just kind of look at the map and figure out how I'm going to get over to that spot, and just keep it a little less structured. So I probably need to work on my route planning a little bit, but I kind of like the excitement of just getting up there and making it work. So
yeah, I mean, that's exploring to the max, the very definition of exploring. Just go to the general area and see what you find.
right,
I love it.
exactly. And we're out there nowadays, it's easy to know where you are at any time, but it's not like going out there blind. But I kind of like to, just see how it all plays out.
Right.
Now, in the overlanding world, people have different things that they like to do. Some people are campers, some people like to cook, some people like to just sit around camp, some people like to wheel and see what their rigs will do. What would you consider yourself your favorite?
Man, I really like to just camp and hang out. Now, during the day, I don't do a lot of base camping. We will go out and cover some trails, but I really like just hanging out around camp. And then with the daughter, she's 9 years old, so driving in a truck all day is no fun to her. So she's got me out into a lot more hiking because that's what she wants to go and do. So, and that's cool because you get to see it from a completely different perspective of what you can see from a vehicle as well. So
I agree.
Camping and hiking are right up there at the top.
That's awesome. Love it. Without giving away some secret spots or anything like that, because we never ask anybody to give away their secret spots, what are some of your favorite places that you've been, some of the most memorable?
Oh man. I've got one spot in Colorado that a buddy of mine showed me that was absolutely beautiful. It was down in a valley right on the side of a stream, and there was like 4 or 5 mountain peaks surrounding you, and it's way off in the back. And that's probably one of the coolest spots. There was a couple spots in Utah I went to 3 or 4 years ago, and Utah's got its own beauty in and of itself. So
that's true. That's true.
That would be, yeah.
Have you met some pretty cool people while you've been out traveling?
I have actually, being from Texas and the East Texas area, there's not a whole lot of people that do this. So I've met people over the internet and over Instagram that are kind of into this hobby. And then also out traveling, I've ran across some pretty neat people and meet people that otherwise I'd have never met in my life if I wouldn't have been out there traveling and seeing the sights. So that's been pretty cool to, expand people I know and where they're from and get to know them better.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to have you come on is I love your rig. You've built it out. It's awesome to look at. Love the pictures of it that you've done. And but one of the things that we get, the questions that we get a lot here on the podcast is, especially in Arkansas where we live, is how are you able to get a full size rig down some of these trails that we have? Now, you mentioned that you were up here in the Ozarks. Tony said that he was watching some of your videos earlier coming down in certain spots on the Ozark Overland Adventure Trail. How have you had any issues? How do you overcome some of the stuff figuring out if you can get your vehicle down certain trails or not?
There's been some tight spots for sure. I've rubbed my fender flares down a couple trees trying to squeeze by some of the tight turns around some of the monstrous mud holes up in that area, because I'm worried about getting a truck my big off some soft sand or soft mud in some of those holes. But for the most part, you just got to kind of take it slow and just see what you can ease around in. Knock on wood, so far I haven't had an issue. So I've done it once without the AT Atlas in the back, and I've done it with the AT Atlas, and you got to put a lot more thought with my rigs around 8.5. Not only are you worried about your width, you're also worried about low hanging branches and things like that, and you just got to be real methodical about lines you're taking
side to side.
Yeah, center of gravity. Yes, for sure. Yeah,
How does
adding all that weight on the bed really changed my center of gravity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How putting that AT Atlas on the rear, did that change your where your center of gravity is and your height and all that? Did you have to watch that?
Yeah, it did for sure. My first experience with that was Colorado this last fall. Normally I'll air down pretty low and then run my adjusters out on my shocks all the way. And on Mineral Creek last fall, I did that like I would without the Atlas. And at one point going down, I kind of slid off a little rock ledge, and I don't know if I did or not, but I really felt like I lifted a rear tire, and my daughter was in the back asking if we were about to flip. And I was like,
"Oh no,
I really got to watch."
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of use of gravity now for sure.
Yeah, I guess that does change up, especially on your suspension when you've got that weight. You've got to figure out how to adjust everything when you've got some adjusters in there to do that.
Right, for sure. And I definitely don't go as soft on my shocks anymore, nor let as much air pressure as tires, because it really, really changed everything up.
What do you think? What do you think your biggest challenge is with running a full size truck off road? What do you think is the biggest challenge that you have to face with a full size rig?
Other than expensive gas bills, for sure, the tight trails, especially. Yeah. For
do you
sure,
have trouble
trails,
on
especially being
out
in
west?
This part of the country?
Out west, do you have trouble with switchbacks? Are switchbacks an issue with you with the full size rig?
They haven't been. You know, I might have to make a few more points in a turn versus the smaller guys. I will with some Forerunners and Tacomas, and they're able to make switchbacks a lot tighter. Whereas, you know, I might have to add 2 or 3 more points to my turn, but it hadn't been anything to really hinder me so far.
Nice.
What do you have in the back? You know, we talked earlier about how I'm a freak when it comes to organization and stuff. So how do you manage the storage and organization in the back underneath your AT to keep everything nice and neat?
Yeah, sure. So I originally started out with a deck whenever I had the soft shell tent, and I kept it first whenever I got the AT. And the deck is a great product, but it's just, there's a lot of space that's unutilized because of the design. So I actually ended up pulling it out and built a set of cabinets myself. And I knew I wanted an onboard water tank, so I integrated that water tank into the cabinetry, and I laid out all my gear I knew I wanted to pack and kind of measured it and built drawers and compartments to spec to hold the gear I knew I wanted in the back. And you know, I've kind of tweaked on it since then as I've got out more and seen what has and hadn't worked. But you know, it's all just a custom set of cabinetry I built in the back to house what I wanted to carry with me.
So yeah, I figured that when we first started talking, and you said that you were a rancher guy, and I just assumed that you do a lot of the work on your rig yourself.
Right, for sure. I love DIY. I mean, I've grown up, my dad's a carpenter, and then I grew up wrenching on cars, so I just love getting in there and working on stuff and building stuff myself. And that's where a lot of this passion comes from, because there's very little on my truck that I haven't done or haven't touched myself. So
I love that. I'm kind of the same way, except that mine doesn't look near the quality as yours does. It's I haven't had any
I
professional
don't know.
work or
The
anything
FJ
like
looks
that.
pretty good.
Well, I appreciate that. Just don't look at it real close.
Yeah.
I love it.
Uh,
It's so fun to get out there and do the work yourself. You know, Tony. Anytime I need any mechanical work, I call Tony and I say, "Hey, man, I need some help." But as
Let's
far
schedule a
as
garage day.
yeah, garage day. I can just barely
right.
still fit in his garage, so that works out really well. In fact, one of the funniest stories that I have is the last time we put a lift, we upgraded my lift inside his garage, and when we got the lift on, I didn't think we were going to be able to get out because it lifted it more than what we thought it was going to lift it. So we almost didn't get out of
Right.
the garage.
Well, we had to stand on your bumper while you
Yeah.
reversed out.
Oh
That
gosh.
was
So it was tight.
That's one of my favorite stories. We had to stand on the bumper to get it out, to get the awning down low enough where to get out of the garage door. So that was fun.
Well, I mean, except for the recent solar panel, I've added both of our Jeeps scrape the gasket on the garage door, the overhead door.
That's close.
Yeah, we scraped the gasket
Oh,
going
wow.
in
It's
that
getting
my
close.
wife's Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah, when we put the lift on my FJ inside his garage and we took it down off the jacks and we were thinking it was going to settle a little bit more than it did. It didn't settle at all, and I
Mm-mm.
thought, oh, this ain't good.
It
We may
didn't
have to
quite.
flatten the tires to get out of here. But I love doing the work yourself, and that way when something goes wrong, you know, well, I've been in this part before. I've done this before. I know how this goes together. I know how this
Absolutely.
fits together. And one of the things that I
Right.
can't stand, I don't have a truck like you guys where most of the stuff is in the back. I can't stand rattles. I can't stand things that move around, even things that are
Yeah.
inside the refrigerator. I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little bit different for me having everything in the cab. But are you one of those guys that when you build things in the back for organization, things have to be tightly packed, tightly sealed because you don't want things rolling around back there, getting broken or sloshing around or anything like that. Is that what you keep in mind when you're building stuff in the back?
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's, I built a 40% seat delete in the back of my truck. So I make sure everything stays tightened down there as well as in the back. I like to use my truck, but I also don't want stuff beating around back there and knocking holes in cabinetry or scuffing anything up unnecessarily. And I'm like you, I don't like the rattles and the squeak. So, if it's not in a drawer and packed down tightly, it's got a front runner strash it across the top of it, holding it down. So just keeping everything locked in and secure.
Yeah, he Joey, he's got a picture of his drawers open.
Mm-hmm.
His fridge is strapped down. His drawers are organized and full. And there's not
Well,
room for things to move around.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an organizer on the inside wall on the passenger side that's got like pockets and stuff. So it's really kind of tidy. I like it a lot.
Well, you put a smile on Tony's face. Tony's like
Yeah.
the master of origami when it comes to cubing things out.
Stack it in there.
Everything's
Tetris.
got its place,
right.
and that's one of the things that hits close to my heart. People are constantly changing, and I understand this. When we build a rig out, things are constantly changing. When people say it's done, they're lying because there's always something that you're going to think, oh, this would be better here. And every time you take it out, you're thinking, I don't need this. I can get rid of this, or I can put this in here, whatever. But
Right.
there are certain things that have their place. And when certain things have their place, you know where everything is. And when you know where everything is and how everything goes together, it becomes a system that is very efficient, very quick. And my wife, the very first time that I ever took her out with me, she said, I don't understand this because you can set this whole place up by the time I put the chairs together. And so, there are certain
Right.
things that you always have and you don't change. And so have you found that out with your setup that there are certain things that always have their place? You know where everything is, everything's quick and easy set up, and it makes it nice.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. With, my build's been through many phases and my camping gear's been through many phases. And like you said, the more you get out and use it, you find what works best for you and the best way to organize it. And I feel like right now I've got my system tuned in pretty good to where it's what I need, but not any excess that I have to deal with. And I have everything laid out in a way that it's easy to pull out. It's easy to put right back up, and makes the trip that much better for me, because I know if I'm in a rush or if it's raining and I don't want to get wet, I can get in and out so quick and easy. And I know where everything is and where it's going back to. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of the fun of doing this, is getting that system dialed in as well.
Do you enjoy the process of the build, or if you could go back and start all over, would you do it just like it is now and leave it that way?
Oh man, I really think I enjoy the process of the build. I feel like that's how you really hone in on what you really want, because whenever I started, I thought I had what I wanted, and then as you get out and go more, you realize, hey, no, I could do this better, or I went wrong here. So I'm glad. I wouldn't want to start over and start where I'm at now, because then I wouldn't learn what I've learned up to this point. So it might have cost a little extra on the front end going through some of those phases, but that's all part of getting everything dialed in and knowing that, hey, this works and this is how I like to have it.
I agree. And Tony's been through the same thing. Tony started out with a really heavy rack, and then he
Really
changed, and then putting the lighter rack on there, it gave him a little bit more lift, and he had to totally redo everything because he couldn't fit in the garage. And Tony, would you say the same thing? You really like how you've just learned throughout the process, and
Yeah.
wouldn't go back?
Yeah. I've learned a lot and sort of, adapted to what I have. I'm getting ready to change racks, bed racks. So I'm getting ready to do that whole process in the bed again. But I think it's probably the drawer system. Like I have the deck drawer system, and there's things that are going to be freed up in that as a result of changing the bed rack. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the process of a new rack.
Well, when I first started out, I was broke, and we tell everybody right off the bat, take what you've got. Take what you've got. Don't go out there and buy $100,000 vehicle that's already built. You don't know what you want. You don't know what makes you comfortable, because everybody's different. And it really gets under my skin when people post on Facebook all the time, I need a tent. What's the best tent? And, you don't know. Get out there, go to these places where you can look at them, see them, put your hands on them and all that. But when I first started building the FJ, everything that I had was homemade. Everything was made by high school people in a welding shop. They made my roof rack, they made my front bumper, they made my sliders, they built a trailer. Everything was homemade. And then throughout the years, I upgraded to stronger and lighter and, different things that were actually a little more quality and a lot lighter. Went from a ground tent to a rooftop tent and just figured it out along the way. And I think if you start at the end instead of starting at the beginning and learned what you don't want, what's not comfortable for you, I think you miss out on so much learning.
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of my favorite parts about it.
Absolutely.
Well, how has this overlanding changed your perspective on travel and life? Do you do other kinds of travel? We talked about me going on a cruise here lately. Are there other ways that you like to travel, or is this your number one way to get out there and see the world?
This is currently my number one way. Like I had mentioned, I grew up in Scouts and kind of camping, but early on, I enjoyed camping and getting out, but travel never was my thing. And overlanding has kind of opened me up more to getting out to more places. Like I never dreamt before of going to Colorado or Utah or any further, and it's kind of really opened my eyes to what all's out there. With that camping background, it's kind of come natural, but it's definitely opened me up to going further and seeing more things and and taking the sights in that are out there and the experience.
I tell you, go ahead, Tony. You were going to say something.
No, I'm just agreeing completely. Yeah.
There's Cajun Kai. I was down in his neck of the woods, down in the Gulf of America this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to find me some boudin while I was down there, but I couldn't do it. They was hiding the boudin down there in South Louisiana. Well, I think one of the things that we're seeing now, that overlanding has been around for several years now, and I predicted this several years ago, that it was the end thing. It was the thing. It was the most popular thing that was going around. People were buying, in 2020 when COVID hit. So many overlanding stores popped up. They were doing millions of dollars worth of business. And I thought, in 2 or 3 years, half this stuff's going to be on Facebook Marketplace. And sure enough, it is. You can find rooftop tents on there every day, just about everything. You even found your AT secondhand, right? You bought it, good price.
Correct. Yeah, on Marketplace.
On Marketplace. That's crazy. That's crazy talk.
Right.
But for a lot of us who really love it, it's long term. I can't see myself really doing anything else. It's the way that I love to live. As minimalist, you can go anywhere.
Absolutely.
You can see things that 95% of the world will never see, especially going out on the trails out west. Do you foresee this as long term, as part of your just a part of who you are from here on?
Absolutely. As long as the good Lord's willing me to be able to get out there, I can for sure see this to be long lasting. So I enjoy it and I love it, and kiddo loves it. So we're just going to keep getting out there.
If you could go anywhere right now, do you have a bucket list of places that if time and money was not an issue, do you have some places that you would want to drive your rig right now?
Yeah, for sure. I've really been looking into and trying to figure out how I would get to Alaska. It's been something that's really been itching on me. Yeah, right.
Yep.
The Pacific Northwest, I'd love to see, but Alaska, man, that would just be awesome. And I've kind of started looking into the logistics of driving up there, and it looks like it's going to be a challenge, but I for sure would love to get up there for sure sometime. So, I mean, you're really out there once you get up there.
You really are. You really are. You're, as like Brian says right here, the Dalton Highway. A lot of people put the Dalton Highway, and I think when Lifestyle Overland posted their videos of Dalton Highway, I think that's really what busted open the really overlanding several years ago when they did that, because everybody was like, wow, you can drive up there. And it was just mind boggling where they went. Beautiful. And so most of the time when we ask people, that's their number one is Alaska.
To me, Alaska's been the top of my list for a long time. And the hardest part about planning a trip to Alaska is putting the blinders on and driving past all of the stuff that I haven't seen yet.
Right.
To go to Alaska.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about everything that you'll drive past
going up there.
Yeah, because you're going.
Otherwise, it'll be a 6-month trip.
Yeah, because you're going through Colorado, you're going through Idaho, you're going through Montana, you're going through Utah, you're going through some of the most beautiful places that the United States has to offer. And
that's just on this side of the border.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the stuff in Canada.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know. But then again, I would so much rather take the time to drive my own rig up there that I know. And nothing against the people, nothing against the guys who have the rigs that you can rent and go up there and fly in there, rent their rig and see Alaska. To me, it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, for sure. I've looked into the rental option before, but I'm like you, just something about taking my own rig up there would just be that much more to it. So
Yeah, it would just mean that more. Cajun Kai says, I hear the mosquitoes in Alaska are 2 times bigger than in the swamps of Louisiana. Now I've heard lots of stories about the mosquitoes in Alaska. It's wet up there all the time with the snow, and when the snow melts, they are horrendous. So
bigger, and there's a lot more of them.
A lot more of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes are not
seems
my
like
friend.
one of the biggest factors you have to really consider. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny. All the people that go up there when they're shooting videos and you're watching them on YouTube, there's bugs just flying around all over the place, and they've got head nets on, and they're trying to eat. When my wife and I were backpacking last summer, and we were trying to eat through a head net, that's not fun. It's not fun.
Right.
But
that would be miserable.
Yeah, that's when I get jealous of guys like you who have a place that you could get up in and shut it off. It's almost kind of like having a trailer. When people like me, all we have is a rooftop tent, and you cook outside and all this other stuff, and you don't really have a place to go to get away from them. I think you have an advantage there with your rig.
Right. Oh, for sure. I mean, I did the soft shell tent for a couple years, and it was good. But now having the Atlas and being able to climb up in the back if the weather gets too bad or if it's too buggy, I mean, that's for sure a nice addition now.
Yeah.
Well, you do a really good job of photographing your rig and where you go and things like that. Do you enjoy that part of the lifestyle?
I do. I've always enjoyed taking pictures. And I've taken pictures forever, and they just Instagram photography hub. So that's kind of where I started off. So, hey, this is and it was just meant as a way to keep those pictures somewhere. A following with it, and I'm just out doing what I like doing. I mean, I'm camping, hanging out, and taking pictures. So and people like seeing it. So
what do you use? You use a real camera, you use a phone, or what do you normally use to take pictures and post on stuff?
I use a mix of all, but primarily I'm shooting off of a real camera with interchangeable lenses to kind of get that different perspective I want. So it's phones do good, but once you start playing with bigger cameras and lenses, you realize you can really hone in on different areas and different aspects. So I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah. Tony's got one up me on that. He's got the camera, so anytime I travel with him, I get good pictures of my rig. So got to rely on him for the good camera. I'm still saving up for that.
Problem, right? That's the biggest problem with enjoying taking pictures is you're usually the guy behind the camera getting everybody else's rigs and rarely getting yours in action. But hey, it's part of it.
Yeah, I have to remind my wife every now and then, you need to take some pictures, otherwise there won't be any pictures of me. And so I need a picture of me every now and then. Just every now and then, one that has me in it. And all I want is just to see if I still look skinny or not. If I don't look skinny, I'm gonna start running again. So I just need a picture of me.
Right.
That's funny.
I'm pretty sure you're still less than what you were when you were in high school, right?
Oh, I'm 5 pounds away from high school. A lot older, but lots older. But
that's pretty impressive.
Well, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work, and still working every day.
Lots of hiking.
Yeah. My wife says one of the things that she started has saying is she says you got to pick your hard. You got to pick the hard thing in life that you want to do, and the hard thing for me is to get up early and work out. That's the hard thing for me, because if I know I've got another hour I can sleep, whew, man, it's hard to get out of bed. Goodness gracious. It's so hard.
For sure.
Oh my goodness. Do you have any trips coming up that you've planned out that you want to share with us?
Man, so I really had my heart set on making it to Utah this summer, but work has really picked up. I've had to put every plan this on hold and just see how work kind of plays out, unfortunately. So it'll probably be a lot of weekend and long weekend trips this year, and maybe come fall we'll open it up enough where I can take a week or two off and get out somewhere further away. So probably won't be
Do
the
you,
best year for me really getting out on big trips.
do you attend many events, Overland Expos or anything like that you go to that where we might run into you at?
I haven't been to just a lot of shows. I went to Rendezvous, year before last. I had planned on going this past year, and of course got sick the night before, so I missed it.
Man.
I went to the expo in Llano. Yeah, I was pretty bummed I missed it because I was really looking forward to it this year. So, but I went to the expo in Llano, Texas this year, and it's just kind of, if it works with the schedule, I'll try to hit them. So it's a lot of these are so far away that it's kind of hard to fit it into a short weekend just because of how far I have to drive due to my location. So
Yeah.
and I have to work around the kid's school schedule, so she likes going as well. So
well, the one in the Overland of America is coming up in September. It's in Jay, Oklahoma. So that's a really good one. Really lots of fun. I bet your daughter would have fun there.
That one is fun.
Yeah, I've been eyeballing that one, and I hope it lines up to where it's a weekend that I'm able to take off, because that seems like that's a pretty good time up there. So, and I'd love to get out and meet some more people. Kind of put faces with names I see on on the socials and everything, and
right,
just enjoy the camaraderie.
Well, you sound a whole lot like Tony and myself, where work gets in the way of a lot of good play.
Right.
I totally understand that. It's kind of like a double-sided coin. You got to have it in order to put gas in the rig. You got to have the work to be able to build it out and pay for the stuff. But then all of a sudden you're like, well, I bought all this stuff, I'm not able to use it. And so totally get that. We run into that so much. And it seems like every day you're off, the weather's bad. So dear Lord, give us a break. Right. We need a break. Here we go. So anyway, give us a break. But anyway, what's your preference when you travel? Do you like going out solo? Do you have friends that you like to go with, or a group that you go with? What's your preference when you go out?
Yeah, so I kind of have a mix of both. I started out going with a group because, like I said, I hadn't really traveled that far away, so I was unsure there at first. And I've built a good group of people I like to go out with. But then again, also this last fall, it was just me and my daughter that went out, and we met a friend and his family up there, and that was pretty enjoyable because it's one thing about going out solo is it's a lot more laid back and slower paced. Usually groups that go out, they have a list of spots to hit, and it's a time crunch. And with just solo, you're kind of able to slow down and dial it back a little bit. And if you want to change plans, you just change them. You don't have to keep to an agenda. So I still like getting out with groups, but I'm getting to where I like going solo a little more and change up so much. And the kiddo, if we need to take a break and get out and take a hike because she's tired, we can do that. So I'd say a mixture of solos really working out good for me right now. So
I feel that for sure.
Me too.
Yep.
You know what, we try to find a mix. We're trying to find a balance. Going out with friends, going out with groups, going to events. It seems like 7-8 years ago there was somebody would come up with a rigs and coffee, and you're like, oh man, that's cool, we got to go. And now there's one every weekend. Everywhere. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. Exactly. There's an expo every weekend that you can go to. There's something like this, and if you're not careful, you'll end up just being an event guy, and you won't actually go out and
Right.
go out into the and see God's country out there. You'll just be urban camping and camping on parking lots. So you gotta have a little bit of a mix.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, totally get that. Totally
For
get
sure.
that. What's your cooking like? What do you like to cook? What do you like to eat?
Favorite
when you
camp
go
meal.
out? Favorite camp meal. I swear that comes up every time we get on here. And I'm just gonna get it out of the way.
Steak and
Are you a
taters.
cooking guy, or you like it quick? Do you like to, be like a chef and do something complicated? What's your preference there?
No, I am no chef. I cook just enough to survive. I do like cooking. I usually cook better when we're out camping at the house, but by no means all like extravagant cook. So, steak and potatoes are the easiest thing to cook out on the trail, and if that doesn't pan out, I always have backpacking meals in the truck that we can warm up. So
yeah,
but we eat good, but nothing crazy, nothing.
Yep. Have you tried Mamu's Camp Kitchen?
Didn't see that coming at all.
Their
Didn't see
meals?
that coming at all.
No.
So I actually haven't tried it yet, but I have 2 of their meals in the truck from watching one of y'all's podcasts talking about the what is it, the chicken spaghetti.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I have 2 of theirs in the truck. I need to try out sometime.
I had 2, Kai. I had 2 Mamu's. I met Kai last Thursday, and I had 2 Mamu's meals, and him and his wife fed me the rest of the weekend.
Well,
just about 15.
Yeah. Kyle likes to stretch the truth a little bit, just a little bit. Let's go. But I can see that, Kyle. I can see where Tony would eat 15 of them. Maybe in his former life, he can't eat that much now.
No, but they're so good. It wouldn't really be a big deal to eat that many.
Well, you're not really missing out on good food when you eat those, and all you got to have is hot water. That's nice. That's nice to be able to do that.
So here's the thing, Joey. It's going to come out in one of my latest videos, how I make those Mamu's Camp Kitchen meals.
Yeah.
And I've always just in a pot, I'll bring boiling water to a boil, and I pour it in, but I don't measure it.
You don't measure the water?
Yeah. You know why I don't measure it?
No, I don't know why you don't.
Because I don't have anything on the truck that measures like 1.5 cups or 1 3/4 cups.
You could. Look at that.
Oh, shame. There you
go. Came in today.
What?
Came in today. There's a cup. There's a cup and a half.
Same thing I
use.
use.
A quarter.
Yep.
Look at you getting all fancy.
Look at that.
Perfect.
You're getting all fancy. You just went full blown Martha Stewart on us.
Telling you.
I mean, full blown Martha Stewart.
Yeah, that last King Ranch I had had a couple of dry spots in it. So
mine was just the opposite. Right. The last time, like 3 backpacking trips ago, I put I just guessed, and it ended up being like 2.5 cups of water, and I had like King Ranch soup, and it just it wasn't the greatest. I ate it, but it's so much better when you actually do it the way they tell you to do it.
Yeah.
And
off topic, but this last weekend was the first time I tried your shower setup with the folding bucket and the
the battery powered shower.
Flex, yeah, and it worked great.
Yeah, it works great.
Yeah, and the what came about from that is a new towel.
You got a camp towel?
I got a new towel and washcloth.
Well, look at there, trying to be all clean.
Thanks to my
Brian
mom.
says that's bougie. Yeah, I didn't even know that's how you spelled bougie, but Brian
and it just packs. Bougie. It's just like in my shower. My whole shower setup's in a space about like big.
Yeah, well,
so
being clean is overrated.
No.
What do you think? What do you think, Johnny?
There.
What do you think, Johnny? Are you more of a shower guy, or are you more of a dude wipe guy?
Man, I have wipes on the truck, but they always make me feel so sticky that I hate using them. I'll use them in a pinch.
Right.
I have a propane water heater for a reason, so, and I will use it.
I got a propane water here and I'm not afraid to use it.
That's right.
Yeah, I like it. Well, I every time that I find something new, it costs Tony money. I don't know why. I show it to Tony and he's like, "That's cool. I got to have one." And next thing I know, he's already ordered it and it comes in by the time he gets home. But we found this. Well, who's it made by? I can't remember, Tony.
What?
The shower.
Oh, Flextail.
Made by Flextail. They've got a battery powered shower, and it is so nice not to have to plug anything in.
Mm-hmm.
And you just
it's a submersible pump.
Submersible pump.
Drop it
All
down.
it is a hose with a pump and a head.
Yeah.
And when I discovered that thing, it is nice. And all you gotta do is heat your water up, and and drop it in there, and you're done. But that's one of the things that I have tried everything that's out there. I've tried everything that's out there, and most of the time, the things that are out there to keep you clean are a pain in the freaking butt. To set up, it takes you 30 minutes to set it up, and by the time you get it put up, you're sweaty again, and I don't like it. But
yeah, so I took one shower. It was on Saturday, and it was in the middle of a bunch of people. So I'm sure there's going to be video coming out about it somewhere.
I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be rated?
Well, it's I think Kai peed in my water bucket a little bit.
I don't doubt it.
But I think it's probably fairly PG rated. So
that is hilarious.
Anyway.
Well, Johnny, what do you think is the biggest thing that you've learned in life from being able to put all of your stuff in a truck and take it with you and live out of your truck for a certain amount of the time? What do you think the biggest thing that you've learned from that is?
Probably that I need to slow down more and take in what nature has to offer. So, I'm generally a person that likes to just run and gun all the time, and it's really taught me to, hey, slow down and enjoy it. So, getting out there, putting it on, and experience it all has really, really kind of been a slap in the face, letting me know that, hey, that's just what you've been doing. So,
I totally agree with that.
More.
Totally agree with that. And I read a lot. Yes. My wife is a reader, and she has got me to reading books. And I read a lot of books about people hiking and walking and seeing all these things. And one of the things that really stuck with me is the people that walk, the people that hike. And after they do that for a long time, and they're seeing the world at 2.5, 3 miles an hour. And then they get in a car and they see how fast everything goes by them, and they realize how much they miss. And I totally get what you're saying. Slow down, live in the moment, and take in everything that's around you, because that may be the last time you're ever in that spot. That may be the last time you ever see that place again. Yeah. And if you blow your way through it, you're going to miss something, and you're going to regret it. Totally get that.
Even like with the photography, how many sunsets do we see, and you don't really take it in that how pretty and how many colors are in the sky until you slow down and you really look at it. And then it's like, well, I've seen this my whole life, really, taking this in and enjoyed it. And, there's a lot more out there than, the hustle and bustle. So it's good to slow down.
True. So
that's true. Very true.
Well, man, it's been so nice to just come on here and visit with you a little bit, to get to know you a little bit more, the man behind the Tundra. And you don't post a lot of pictures of yourself. In fact, when I was creating the thumbnail today, it took me a long time. I had to scroll way down to find a picture of you to put in there.
Yeah.
Because most of it, and I'm the same way. I'm the same way. When you find out what works and what you like to post on your Instagram and stuff like that, you kind of get into a routine, and you try not to stray from that. But it's good to see the man behind the Tundra, and to visit with you, get to know you a little bit better, and I really hope one of these days we get to get out on the trail together and camp a little bit, because it
Heck
sounds
yeah.
like you're one of the guys that I'd want to hang with.
Heck yeah,
That's
man.
for
Hey,
sure.
for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
holler,
Heck yeah.
holler at us.
Yeah,
Holler at
no
us when
doubt.
you're heading up to the Ozarks.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of Arkansas, and
Definitely.
Tony is
Hey, I
in the
sure will.
northwest, so we can meet you right in the middle. And
Well, perfect. Yeah.
I just really, really look forward to that day. But anyway, well, I hope everybody has a wonderful week this week. I hope you get out there. And if you do get out there this weekend, please be careful. Flooding is no joke. And especially in the Ozarks, where most of the trails have water crossings, they have deep mud holes. And if flooding is an issue, you could find yourself in a bad spot really quick. So please, if you go out this weekend or even Monday or Tuesday next week when it clears up, please be careful, because if it rains up north, everything down south is going to catch up to it. And there's so many stories about people getting caught unawares about flooding. So please be careful. Get out there and do that. But Jonny, thank you again for coming on here with us. We appreciate you being here and sharing a little bit about who you are.
Yep, enjoyed it, buddy.
Thank y'all for having me. I enjoyed it.
You bet. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Get outside, learn something new, get involved. Don't just sit there. Do something to make a difference. And whether you travel by rig or by shoe, look out for number 1 and don't step at number 2. We're out. Have a good week.